So tell us about yourself, your name, what you were doing in Osaka, and for how long you were there.
So my name, should I look at the camera or you guys? Probably better if I look at you guys, right?
It's okay.
All right, I'll just look over there. So my name is Mark. I was teaching English in Japan for 2 years, between 2003 and 2005. I lived in Osaka, so I didn't take any formal Japanese lessons, the language. So most of the Japanese that I learned was casual Japanese, from hanging out in bars mostly. So I'm not sure. I think I speak some Osaka dialect. I can't remember. It's been over 10 years now, so I can't remember the specific Osaka words. I remember there are a few. I just can't remember which they are. So what else did you ask me to describe myself? That's it? Okay.
And then you mentioned that you don't know what is Osaka specifically.
Mm-hmm.
And then you don't realize it when you're speaking it if you're speaking standard Japanese or Osaka sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But can you tell if somebody else is speaking the Osaka dialect to you? Like
No, my skill level is way too low.
Okay.
Because I'm very beginner. Like I got enough to get by, and now I'm studying. Right now I'm taking Japanese 100. And which is proper Tokyo dialect.
Yeah.
And I'm noticing that a lot of the stuff that I said, we're not being taught. And I'm not sure if it's because it's Osaka or too casual. From what I know, people say that Osaka-jin, people from Osaka, are really laid back and funny. So it's possible that like my sort of laziness when it comes to conjugating verbs or proper Japanese could be my lack of skill, could also be the laid back Osaka attitude. Maybe they just are not interested in proper Japanese.
Yeah, it could be.
Could be.
Both.
I'm not really the person to
because they conjugate
to speak exactly on that.
They conjugate a lot of words like they use yana, chaokai, stuff like that, right?
Yeah. So a good example is, see again, this may be all over Japan, but I was saying na at the end of adjectives, like oishii na. And now that I've learned that you're only supposed to use na at the end of certain adjectives, and not oishii, for example, is an e adjective. It ends with e, so you're not before a noun. You're not supposed to say, like, for example, sushi. Oishii na sushi would be wrong. Now that's the kind of thing that I would have said, and I know nobody would have corrected me in Osaka. So I don't know, maybe something for you to look into to see if that's just me or if that's Osaka
Yeah. So what impressions do you have of Osaka or its speakers? You mentioned that they're can you expand on that?
See, again, I'm not really the authority because I only lived in Osaka,
yeah.
so I can't compare. So I can't really speak on that.
Any stereotypes you've heard?
Just they're funny and laid back, like I mentioned. Those are the two big ones that I remember.
Would you say that would be a positive one or a negative?
Definitely in a positive way. I think most people look at Osaka. Osaka is the second biggest city in Japan. So the way I perceive it is, Tokyo is like the official city, that's proper Japan, and then Osaka is like the funny little brother who's sort of laid back and equally as significant because it's so big, but sort of the lighter side of Japan, maybe more casual.
Yeah, I think that's about right. That's everybody's impression.
Is that what other people say? Yeah.
Well, actually, there's a study that shows that a lot of international students who have been to Japan for a while, like half a year to a year or two, like that, show a deep interest in the Osaka dialect and desire to learn it. So, and many of them is like the Kansai area itself, because the Kansai area is very appealing, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been, but I'm sure it is.
Mm-hmm.
So they want to learn the language of the area. Many also think that it's useful to be able to speak the regional tongue so they can get along better with people, which is why a lot of foreigners, they want classes to be implemented in the Kansai dialect or the Osaka dialect.
Oh, over here they want to learn?
Oh no, over there.
Okay.
Yeah. So, what do you think of like dialect classes you think that's useful, or even in English actually?
I guess it all depends on your goals, because if you want, like in English, right? If you want to be a writer, then you've got to take, English classes. But if you wanted to, come to Canada and make friends in English as a second language, then I could see it being more beneficial to learn a dialect. I guess to fit in. I don't know, this sort of, I'm in linguistics, so this is sort of related to what we study. I guess it all depends on the individual goals of the student.
If it's dialect, it has a very social aspect to it.
That's right. If you wanted to fit in, I guess would be. Because if you're gonna be conversing with people in a bar, let's say, they're not gonna use proper Japanese, and you're not gonna understand what they're saying because they're gonna be using dialect.
Yeah.
So in that case, you'd be better off learning dialect.
For sure. That's why actually some locals don't think too well about foreigners speaking fluently in the dialect. Because, like, if they're still learning Japanese, it's hard. And then they also learn the dialect at the same time. It's like they can mix it up. That, for example, in a situation where you're supposed to use formal stuff like desmas, that in class, and then the students start speaking in dialect, so it's really casual and informal, right? And they think that will have like adverse effects on their social relationships, and I think that's a big taboo in Japan.
Oh yeah.
Like disrespecting your
Yeah.
seniors, I think.
Because I know in Japan, being proper is really important. It always depends on certain different things in your environment, who you're speaking to. If they're older or higher status, you should use formal Japanese. There's a lot of little rules in Japanese that you can break if you're not conscious of it. I mean, as foreigners, you can get away with it because, they understand that your Japanese is a second language. Going back to what you were saying about comparing learning dialect versus learning proper, I would agree, this is a personal opinion, as a linguist, I would agree that it's better to learn proper first, learn the proper backbone, so when you speak the dialect, you're aware of the rules that you're breaking. And the other thing about dialects is they change frequently. The thing with dialect is slang is the reason that we have slang and stuff is because it personalizes the language. It gives you your own touch. It makes you like Osaka Jin because I speak Osaka Ben. And if everybody starts speaking that, then it's probably, my theory is it will update itself to become more unique again. So therefore it's probably, formal Japanese is probably been that way for hundreds of years. So it's more static, it's more consistent. That would be my personal opinion, why some downsides to learning a dialect. Personally, I would think it's better to learn backbone, like the formal Japanese in a classroom, than learn dialect from friends or people you converse with.
Yeah, so it's like a natural process that you should pick up.
That's what I think.
Yeah, if you put, because some people say also that there's no use of learning a tongue that is spoken in such a small area.
That's another good point, because what are you going to do with Osaka Ben if you move to Okinawa?
And there's also the economic aspect of like hiring teachers to teach just that class, right? And you have like probably 5 students.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's probably about it.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have a question about because like in China, it's really big and they have many dialects in different areas. But for now, because most of people go to Beijing, Shanghai, or Hong Kong, they have the like bigger city. So most of the smaller areas, people slowly forgot their dialects.
Okay.
And only the elder, maybe like over 50 years old, and they know their own dialects in the smaller area, like the original speaking. But now, for the young people, they almost forgot of their dialects and they're living in the big city. So all the dialects kind of like a washing out of the culture. Do you think the Kansai, well, the Kansai dialects, it's gonna to disappear maybe 100 years ago? Or like, is the people ashamed of speaking it, or
No, they're very proud. They're very proud. Osaka people are, it seems to be very proud, like that's their identity. I think another question comes when talking about dialects. One major difference, I'm not sure because you spoke of dialects in China, if those are derivations of Mandarin or are they actually different languages?
Like we can understand what we're talking
Right.
about is dialects, like
So the main grammar
it's
is
still
the
the same language, yes.
You're right, and a lot of the words are the same, and
Yeah.
both read the same.
Yeah, but just
Text.
the sound is just different.
So a little bit differences.
Yes.
Yeah. What was the question again? I think maybe I answered.
Do you think that Japan gonna like wash out?
Oh, right.
the dialect?
Yeah. Personally, I think, yeah, like you said, that's a good point because older generations will. I think that's going to be a problem all over the world with population. I guess I don't know. It seems so unpredictable, really. I guess it all depends on how much pride there is within the community to stick with their own. Because I mean, look at Canada. We still use a lot of the native languages. They're still strong enough that we still study them, even though it may seem on the big picture that they're not as functional. I don't want to say they're not functional. Within communities, they're functional. But I would say that they have enough pride within their communities that those languages will remain forever. Yeah, as long as the culture, the pride of the culture is there. Going back to Osaka, I think they're very proud. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.